Hi, it's Inga here again at Wisdom Ways Acupuncture, and in this video I'm going to just do a brief overview of the 5 elements. I'm going to go through the whole year or the whole elemental cycle and talk about each of the elements. Each one of us tends to be predominantly one elemental type, maybe a mix of the two. So as we're going through, you might find qualities of yourself in some of the elements and start thinking maybe what type of element are you. After this, I'm going to start doing individual videos on each element. So that will really give you more information to start figuring out what you might be. So the 5 elements have fascinated people forever, and the reason why I think is because they really tell us a lot about ourselves and why we do the things that we do. So when somebody comes in and they're really displaying really obviously an imbalance in whatever their elemental type is, we can start having a conversation about the 5 elements, and I can show them patterns within their element that start explaining what their challenges are, and then we can start pulling in, maybe working on pulling in some of the other elemental types, practices they can do, meditations, things like that, so that they can start nurturing some of those other elements that are maybe lacking in their body to naturally bring into balance their own elemental type. So I'm just going to start here. The first element I'm going to talk about is the wood element. I'm starting here because the wood element is sort of the beginning of the new year or the new growth. It's springtime. We are right about here right now. It's mid-February, and I'm starting to feel some of that wood energy rising because the days are getting a little longer. People are coming in with more symptoms related to wood imbalance. The organ that it's associated with is the liver. All of the elements have an emotion they're associated with, a season they're associated with, emotional patterns they're related with. So when you put all that together, whatever your elemental type is, you're going to tend to have issues, strengths, and problems in that elemental type. So the wood element is, think about at the beginning of spring when you go outside and it's just like, oh my God, everything is just bursting forward. Little saplings crack through the cement. They're so strong that urge to live and to burst outward. It's extreme motivation. And so wood type people tend to be type A's. They're great workers. They've got a lot of energy usually. And all of that is really great. The downside is the emotion associated with it is anger, impatience, frustration, tension. And so those are the types of things that we'll see when the wood type is out of balance. There's a lot more to say about all of these. So if you are curious, I would encourage you watching the individual videos if you start suspecting you might be one organ more than the other. Then we move up into summertime. So summertime is associated with the fire element. So think about the heat of summer. Think about the fun and the playfulness of summertime. All of those are qualities of the fire element. It's related to the heart, so it's about connecting with people. Fire types tend to be great networkers. They are the life of the party, that type of person. So they're usually really fun to be around, very, very much people. The downside of that is when that's expressed too big, because all the energy is really up here and fun all the time, they can have a hard time going a little deeper, having deeper relationships. Maybe they go from one person to the other. Again, we want to bring out the strengths and dissipate the challenges associated with the elements. After the fire element, we move over to the earth element, which is associated with an extra season in Chinese medicine. It's basically the harvest time, so it's no longer that bright, sunny, long middle of summer days, but the leaves aren't falling yet. It hasn't really gotten that nip in the air. All of the nourishment is starting to come in from the earth, so it's the earth element. Where do we process that nourishment? It's in our digestive organs. So the organs associated with the earth are the digestive organs. So it's really all about nurturing ourselves and nurturing others. Classic earth type is a nurse. Boundless energy to give to others. Flip side of the coin, you might forget to give that energy to yourself, get depleted and resentful. All right, so then we move on to the metal element. Now we're in the fall season. So this is where the energy is moving downward. So metal types can tend to struggle with depression. Think about the trees, they're losing their leaves, so it's loss. It's about loss and grieving. The organ that it's associated with is the lungs. So the positive side of all that, though, is what do we do with our lungs? We inspire, right? We inspire air. So metal types are drawn towards things that are very inspirational. They tend to be spiritual types. They're the ones that cause us to look at the more lofty aspects of life and the things that really hold value. So while you can struggle with more depression, there is the good side of that that you can try to bring out as well. The last season is the water element. This is associated with the winter time and our kidneys. We say that our kidneys store the deepest part of our energy. We don't want to tap into that because that's our deepest resources. So think about the water element in the wintertime. Everything is hidden underneath the soil. You don't see a lot going on, but there is a lot. It's a time of restoration and building deeper roots. And so that's what the water element is all about. People who are water types, they tend to not reveal much about themselves, but as you get to know them, you see that still waters really do run deep. And so that is just a brief overview of the 5 elements. If you've been curious about it, there's tons of resources that you can access online. Again, I'll be doing my own individual videos, but I hope that has maybe piqued your interest and made you start thinking about how you can start using this in your own life.